Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm John Barbin. With me is Jeff Dover, and let's talk football.
We're a couple of football fans. We watch football on Saturday and Sunday, and this is our Syracuse Clemson review. What are your initial thoughts?
Clemson might be this year's Florida State from last year.
Mm-hmm. That's a great comparison. That's because going in, highly rated, a lot of people's picks to win the national championship. A lot of people were thought that Clemson might have the best roster, but oh man, are they, this is the worst start they've had in 39 years. 1-3. It's crazy. They're done now. It's really hard to, now we're really going to see what Dabo's made of coaching wise, because this is going to be really hard to do anything with his team moving forward.
They're just not a good football team. No. And they weren't disciplined in this game. No. They were taking stupid penalties in the first half. The offense, 21 points is the most the offense has managed to muster in the three losses. Maybe 20. They got 27 against Troy or something. This offense is just not there. And there was all this talk about Klubnik being an early Heisman favorite. And it was ironic in this game because they put up 500 yards. This is the weirdest part of this stat line. They put up 500 yards in offense, and at no point in this game did I think they had any chance of winning this game. Yeah,
because a lot of that was in the late third quarter, fourth quarter, I feel like I think that was also part of it. But yeah, I mean, it's they gave up, they gave up more rushing yards than they had themselves, and they gave up almost 300 yards passing when the starter went out still, and the backup still came in and was somewhat effective, and threw a touchdown pass. So that should never happen. If you're at Clemson, that team, where the defense is really the strong point of the team, and to give up that many yards and to Syracuse is just a terrible at home. Oh, it's just so bad. It's really bad.
Well, okay, so at the end of the first half, we're looking at, it's just a 10-point game at this point. Now, it still doesn't look like Clemson's still in chase mode here. And Fran Brown calling the fake kickoff.
That's the first line of my notes here, right? That is a great, if you're a player on Syracuse or a Syracuse fan, you got to love that, right? Because you come down, you're heavily underdog in this game. The Clemson is favored by 17 points or something. You come down and score the first touchdown, and then you go for the onside kick when no one is expecting it. And that is an awesome, awesome call, and it was executed perfectly. So hats off to Fran Brown, because that's an amazing move right there.
Oh yeah, and when they did that, Dina was like, "Can they do that?" And I was like, "Okay." So my girlfriend's just learning football, and she'll say stuff like if the score is 35-0, she'll say, "Oh, it's 0-35," and I'm like, "Oh, baby, they don't say 0 there." But anyway, so she's like, "Can they do that?" And you're right, that might have been the cleanest onside kick I've ever seen. First of all, Clemson had no chance at touching that ball. And they got it right at the right moment. I know they reviewed it, but it was pretty clear he was over. Yeah. And but the thing is, he was just over. Right. Yep. That was perfect. That was absolutely perfect.
He fell down on it on 11 yards after he kicked it, which is right out of the textbook. And the announcer was kind of funny because, he was sort of complaining about how Clemson reacted to it. And they're like, they're taught to don't move until you see him kick the ball. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. But when you see that 90 times, where he just kicks off and then the one time he doesn't, you can't expect them to react super well to that. It was a complete surprise. It was the first quarter. It was the second possession on the road. That was just a great call. That's really what it was.
I mean, my guess is most of those Clemson players have never faced an onside kick or not a surprise one. Maybe knowingly at the end of a game they might have faced one once. But my guess is almost all those players oh Jesus, that's never happened before. We've never been hit with a surprise onside kick.
The other note I have here is that at one point, I think it was in the third quarter, the Clemson fans were booing. That was something I never thought I would see. That is at that place, and what Dabo's done and the success they've had for a long time, it is just a reminder that football is a pretty fickle game, and fans are fickle and boosters are fickle, and It's what have you done for me lately, not what have you done for me, over the course of your career. And I can't believe that they were, because at that point they're not out of it, but like they were behind. But it was just to hear boos at Clemson is really something.
He's one of only, 3 coaches, active coaches, who have a national championship. And he has 2 in the last, whatever it is, 10 years, been to the playoffs, won the division 7 or 8 times in the last 10 years, been to the playoffs since the 4-team thing started 5-6 times at least.
Yep.
And you're booing them because you just can't sustain that. So that is the good and the bad of college football. You can't find that kind of passion anywhere else. Like, the NFL still doesn't quite have that degree of passion.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's how crazy college football fans are, and how I don't know if the word's tacky, but that's almost classless. You're booing your own team at home. The broadcast actually said the fans were giving it to the Clemson defense. Like, when they were sitting on the bench, the fans right behind them were trash talking the Clemson defense. So obviously, fans almost take it like you're screwing them somehow. Yeah. Like, do you think the team wants to be losing this game? Obviously, It hurts them more than it hurts. Believe it or not, it hurts the players more than it hurts you.
Well, and it also felt like at that time, like they were down, but like they could come back. Like they have the weapons to come back. So it's I don't know. It's a bit shocking. And it's in case you didn't see it, there was something that went pretty viral early in the week. So a reporter asked a relatively benign question to Dabo, and Dabo had a 13-minute response where he started talking about him and what he's done there and their past record and things like that. And that was sort of a red flag, It's like if he's reacting like that, it says, and so because of that, I thought this week was going to be, an absolute killer in practice, and that they were going to come out and just flatten Syracuse after that. But it really feels like it went the other way. Like it's the, I guess I'm just terrible and we're going to be terrible reaction, which is weird.
I actually had the opposite reaction when he got so sensitive in that press conference. Yeah. I actually thought, oh, this team might be unraveling. Like he might recognize something's wrong, because he's normally more poised.
Yeah. Like that's why it went so crazy, because like you've never seen him do this before.
So that's why I thought maybe he knows something's wrong with this team. Like me, and it's not, we dropped a close one to LSU or Georgia Tech kind of just got us, but I think he knows something's up. Or he's recognizing, I mean, obviously he knows what a championship team looks like. He's had multiple championship teams. So maybe in his mind, he already can tell, oh, this team ain't it.
Yeah.
And so when they get on his case, when the reporters get on his case, they're just calling out what he's already seen. And maybe that's why he reverts to, well, okay, but look at what I have done. Okay, so maybe we don't have it this year. And I think he knows they don't have it this year. I mean, everyone knows they don't have it this year.
1 and 3, they don't have it. Yeah.
No,
it's a great comparison, like you made for Florida State. Like everyone thought they were going to be good. Like there was a lot of people picking them to win the national championship, and they're supposed to be highly rated. And Klubnik was supposed to be better, and the defense was going to be lights out. And they gave up so many yards. Like they gave up over 100 yards rushing and almost 300 yards passing. Like it's right out of the textbook for not stopping the other team.
Yep. And in the third quarter, when you think maybe they'll make an adjustment at halftime, this is their drive chart in the third quarter. Clemson goes punt, turnover on downs, punt, fumble, turnover on downs. That is them attempting to get back into this game. And instead, the lead just stretches from 10 points to 20, and the game's essentially out of reach by the fourth quarter. It doesn't matter that they put up a bunch of any drive in the 80-yard drive. It doesn't. This is all desperation at this point in the fourth quarter. And so I think that big stat line with the 500 yards is, to your point, not necessarily telling that it just never felt like they were in this game.
No, they never did. And that was one of the turnover on downs is when they had a 4th and short and Klubnik was going to go for it, and he got tackled in the backfield. And that's when some of the boos happened at that point. So no, it's really too bad. It's really, like, they were supposed to be good. They're not. Hats off to Syracuse. Syracuse played a great game. That was another, just to your point there, the turnover and downs twice, like you said, in the second half. Like Syracuse stopped them. Like it just flat out stopped them. Like Clemson has weapons, and Syracuse stopped them forced them turnover on downs, like in those possessions. So that hats off to Syracuse. Fran Brown's done a great job. He's cobbled together a great team. Like they were worried about this. We talked about this on the last show. In case you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to the South Carolina Mizzou review. But it's they got McCord was their QB last year. They're going to have a transfer this year in Jelly. We're going to see how long he's going to be out for. But they put together a good team. So hats off to Fran Brown for that, because you never know how the transfers are going to work.
All right. So what can we say about these teams? If Ricky Collins has to step in for Angeli, because that looks like we don't, as of time of recording, we don't have an injury update. It sure looked like a torn Achilles.
Yeah.
But we don't know. But Ricky Collins, remember, he's from LSU, so he's got some serious, I don't want to say experience, but good coaching. He was behind Jaden Daniels and then Nussmeier. So there's at least, that there's a good coaching staff at LSU. So maybe he'll be able to step in here and take over for Angeli. He's a 4-star type recruit. So there should be talent there. We'll see if Collins can step in. But then for Clemson, this eliminates them for sure from the playoffs. And now they're 0-2 in conference. And now Georgia Tech has the tiebreak over them, and so does Syracuse. Now maybe Syracuse may not be there at the end of the year, but if they are, they may not even be in their conference game. They're just kind of they're at this point, they don't matter on the national stage anymore.
No, they got 3 losses, and they still have a game. They host Florida State, they host SMU, they're at Louisville, and at South Carolina. So all 4 of those games are possible losses. So this could be a 7-loss team, maybe.
Yep.
At North Carolina, all of a sudden isn't. North Carolina's not good, but you assume they're going to win that one, but who knows? Like North Carolina's pretty desperate right now too. So not sure how that one's going to be. Clemson, as of time of recording, Clemson is officially last in the ACC, like in the standings, because they're the only ones with 2 conference losses. That's crazy.
So early in the season too that all of their national title hopes have already ended.
Yeah. No,
well,
it's just nuts.
Good for Syracuse. I love Fran Brown. I hope he stays there and this keeps working for him.
No, and it's a huge game they host Duke next week, which is really big, at SMU. Like they've got a lot of important ACC games ahead of them, and they're in a position that if they can win these games, they can compete in their for their conference. So hats off to them. Fran Brown has done a great job. So last note I had here about this game, I don't know what targeting is anymore. So this has come up in a few games on this Saturday where there was a call for targeting. Someone got hit in the head, and then they review it and they say, yep, not targeting. And I don't know. I can't tell what it is anymore. Like, 'cause there was one of them in this game where clearly looked like targeting because he, hit with the head, but it was called not targeting. So I don't know what it is. And that's pretty frustrating. And then they actually even said on the broadcast, they're like, yeah, it's pretty much like up to the discretion of the umpire, and I'm like, that's not how rules work, but it's disappointing to see that.
I think most rules in football are like holding. We know there's holding on every play, so they have to just kind of, that one was really bad. Pass interference, there's technically pass interference on every play. It's like, that one was really bad.
There was a couple in this game that could have been called and weren't, and some that were called. Like it's pretty.
Well, that's why we don't. That's why we don't talk about penalties here, because every single penalty, both teams' fans have a legitimate argument both ways almost every time. You could say, right, but that's just ticky-tack. You're like, but by the letter of the law, that's actually the way that penalty. So whatever. I mean, yes, once in a while they're super egregious, but there's just no point in talking about it, because if you got screwed this week, next week it'll go in your favor. So it sucks, but it's just part of the game. Yeah,
no, and you're right. And I don't want to. It's not going to change, and the time for the reviews is getting annoying. Like I'm at the point where I can only record the game and watch it recording, because live just drives me nuts when there's so many stoppages and delays for stuff.
All right, well, I think that's all we got here. Arrows up for Syracuse, arrows way down for Clemson.
Yep.
All right, and if you're still with us, we appreciate you checking out the channel. We know it's pretty small. We just started it last year. So if you like what we got going on, we'd appreciate if you give us a like, and a subscribe is a big deal to help grow the channel. All right, so for Jeff Dover, I'm John Barbin, and that's your Saturday versus Sunday podcast.